Hello all you gorgeous souls. So I'm not sure whether or not you're following me or not on Instagram. My handle is at mytribeMaddieMay. Recently I put a post out there on my stories in regards to something that I had learnt, a life lesson that I had learnt, and that is to do with bullying in the workplace. And I kind of put the feelers out there to see, who else has had a similar situation as me. And I ran a poll and I had 73% of people vote on that to say that they have experienced bullying in the workplace before. And I just thought that was like mind-blowing. And I wanted to use my voice here to kind of bring some light to that and to also share my tips on how I kind of moved through that and my real kind of, so you guys can learn through my experience, because I believe that we all have our life lessons, and I've learnt from them, and I would love to be able to share that with you, just in case by any chance that you might feel the same as me, or you might be going through a really similar situation. So a little bit about my story. I am 25 years old. I just lied. I'm 26. Never mind. So I am 26 years old. I first entered the workplace, in the full-time working workplace, when I was in my last year of university, and I entered as an internal communications coordinator, which was awesome. I was so pumped, and I felt so lucky to be employed even though I hadn't even finished my studies yet. I felt really proud of myself and was really excited to get started and get my life going. I wasn't just a casual at a retail store anymore. I had a career, which was so cool. And the more and more I kind of got into it, whilst I had some really amazing experiences, I don't want to discount that at all, but I also experienced some things in the workplace culturally that absolutely did not sit with me, and I unfortunately became bullied at this company. I had two separate roles, and I was bullied in both of them. And basically I'm going to round that off to a life lesson that I needed to learn, and I didn't learn it the first time, so I kind of got smacked in the face again with it the next time, because I hadn't quite learned that, and I needed to be able to move forward in my life. So I don't really want to go too much into my personal experience, because I don't feel like people can really benefit from going into those negative things. But basically my bullying was around actions to keep me really small and keep me in my box and stop me from developing as a career professional. And I can't really put anything else onto that besides, and also some really bad one-to-one behavior, spoken to really poorly multiple times, all of those nasty things that really made it hard for me every single morning. I would say for about a year, every single morning I would wake up, and instantly my first thought, which is horrible, and I really hope that you guys aren't experiencing that too, but my first thought was I felt sick in my stomach. I did not want to jump into my car. There has been so many times at that job that I would get to work after my drive, and I would just sit in my car like afraid to open that door handle and get out and to go to work. And that experience just kept on going and going for me until I eventually moved out of it. But it took some things to work through before I realized that that wasn't normal, and I absolutely did not ever need to feel that. And no one else should either. But so that's kind of my experience, without going into it too deeply. I want to share with you what I did to move out of that. So it kind of started with my all-time favorite and my savior, yoga. I really found my practice again, and that helped to make me feel good within myself. Regardless of what was going on around me, at least I had this 1 hour at my favorite studio on this mat with these awesome, amazing, beautiful people to help me reconnect with myself, to move my body, to get all of those emotions and just put them away in a really safe and beautiful, gracious way. So I cannot recommend, if you're getting into yoga, there's plenty of studios. If you're looking at this during this time, you're probably going to be looking for studios online. And if you're looking at this in a year's time, I hope that you don't know you will know what I'm talking about, but I hope that it's not the reality. So that was my first off, number one. Second of all was I relied a lot on self-help books. I feel like there's just so much wisdom out there that is so worth just taking the time to read about. You'll soon learn that through those stories in those books that there's other people out there that are going through really similar situations and they have the perfect advice for you. My kind of first self-help book that I really, really resonated with was The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. I cannot recommend that more. If you wanted to start getting into alignment with the universe and trusting that everything happens for a reason and you are supported no matter what. So that was my second recommendation, getting into some books. My third and really also important one is to talk about it, to tell other people what you're feeling. I kind of shared that with my family and my friends, and the benefit of that was that they were actually able to put me into contact with some really important mentors that I still have to this day, that gave me the advice that I needed at that time. So my first kind of person that I spoke to, she was in my industry and like a high profile manager, and her advice to me was, at that time I was kind of looking for a promotion because I was not being able to get that anywhere. My base salary when I first started working was ridiculous. It was way under the industry standard, and I was made to fear and really deeply not feel comfortable in asking for a pay rise. It was just no, we don't talk about that. And if you were to ask for it, you were made to feel guilty and greedy, which is so ridiculous because, we all are worthy and we should be able to ask for things that we think that we honestly deserve. So anyway, that's that. And she kind of had the advice to me to try maybe a different role, to add more things to my personal, she called it my personal toolkit, to help me, first of all, get more experience, which is awesome. Second of all, when I'm applying for different jobs or trying to, maybe negotiate a pay rise, that I actually have experience in X, Y, Z. Therefore, I can bring that to the table, I can offer that to you, and I can work really, really hard for you using my experience that I went out of my way and did on myself to learn. Build up your toolkit, your personal professional toolkit. And then, so I did that, and actually it really worked. I landed a new position, which led me to my second role, which was in digital marketing. And I was so happy because I was like, finally I'm getting out of this really toxic situation. And I quickly learned that I dove headfirst into another one, which sucked. It kind of started with the alarm bell started ringing when, I kind of got to a new team, and I really, really wish this wasn't the case, but it was a team led by a male manager, and the team were all females, which should be awesome because, we as females were underrepresented in the workplace, so great. However, the environment that marketing team had was super toxic and very competitive. So with me coming in, not at like not at a base level, at maybe like a mid-tier kind of role, and there were some people that were kind of underneath me, that maybe wanted to apply for the role that I had, didn't get. I came in, and to them I seemed potentially, the only thing that I can assume is a threat, and also like a big slap in the face to them because they had applied for something that they didn't get, and here I was in their place. I just could not get into that group, which is so funny now because some of them are honestly like my closest friends after we kind of moved through that. But yeah, I would try my best. I would ask them if they wanted to go get coffee. I would ask them if they wanted to go get lunch. I would offer to help them with their work. I would listen to them, and I was so open to learning from them, and I just couldn't figure out, like, why don't they like me? That was the hardest thing. I was like, they just do not like me. It was really harsh. And I spent a lot of time. I would just kind of, on my lunch, go outside and call my boyfriend and just start crying to him like around the block so no one from work could see me, but I would literally just cry, and be like, I can't believe this is happening again. And anyway, how I kind of moved through it was I just stuck to my guns. I know me, and I know that I'm a good person, and I knew that if I kept showing up with kindness, and if I kept my head held high, and I just kept on being true to who I am, that something would give. And slowly it did. People just started opening up a little bit more toward me, and just a whole different vibe started happening. And I don't know, I guess some of them are some of my really close friends at the moment. So I don't even know how many tips I'm up to now, but next one is absolutely just be true to who you are, and the right people will be attracted to you. If you just keep on being you, you'll be kind of exuding this energy that negative people won't be grasping onto you anymore, but the people that do come to you are your people. You'll resonate with them, and who knows, by you being you and you keep showing up as someone positive, you're even going to be starting to spread that throughout maybe a toxic environment. Like, how cool is that? You have the ability to change it just by being you. So that's kind of another really, really important tip. Just be you. And so once I got over that hump, I was like, sweet, like surely I'm in for smooth sailing now. And no. Just no. I was kind of, again, found myself in a situation where people felt either threatened or wanted to kind of hold their space and to prove their worthiness so that no one else could kind of succeed above them, which is, I can't really talk because I have never been a manager. I'll put my hand up right now and say I don't have experience in that. However, I do strongly believe that if you are a manager and you are supposed to be looking after and mentoring and coaching and teaching your employees that you should be doing exactly that and not just feeding them the shit work, and then when they do an amazing job and the bosses come down to them, take credit for it. Like, that happened so many times, I cannot count. And personally, I don't respect it. And that was another thing that was like getting to me. Like, I would be working so hard, and at the end of the day, someone would just come in and be like, oh, like, I'm gonna speak over this girl, and kind of weave my words around to make it seem like they had a bigger part to play in the outcome of a really successful project than what they'd actually contributed, which was not very much. They were just more senior, so they got to say that I did it, when that wasn't the case. So yeah, I guess the way that I kind of got around that was I tried multiple times to speak to my manager about that, and every single time that I went and I expressed how I was feeling, and I promise you that if you know who I am I'm not a super aggressive person, and I always kind of feel a bit awkward when going into those type of confrontational conversations, and I always approached it with, you know, a sense of not being aggressive, and just there to express how I was feeling and what I believed that I was actually contributing to and how I should be valued. And every time that I went and spoke about that, I kind of got listened to, which was great. But then I'd seem like the week after nothing would change, or even worse, it got to a point where my new manager wouldn't even speak to me. We were supposed to have, the whole team was having weekly one-to-one catch-ups, and I wasn't even, it was like a month, and ours kept on getting cancelled, and I just thought it was, really a yucky feeling. It wasn't nice at all, and that was only because I spoke up about it. And then, so I guess I reached out to another mentor. I actually put myself out for, put my hand up for a course, which was kind of an instrumental one for me. And I'm actually really lucky that one of the good things that this employer provided was this course. It was free for me. And it was kind of about like women in the workplace, and I learnt so much. And as part of that, we had to do a project where we would profile a high up, someone that we didn't work for, and would reach out to them and network with them and find out about how they got to where they are and all of that. And I picked, I actually went way out of the box here. I found this company online. You might have heard of them. They're called The Digital Picnic. A really awesome social media kind of mentoring and advice, and they hold workshops and all of that kind of stuff, and they promote a positive workplace above all else. And so I reached out to their, I don't know what her position is now, but at the time she was the CEO, Cherie, and I asked her if she maybe had 15 minutes just to sit down with me and talk to me about her experience. And my little golden nugget that I received out of that was she was actually bullied too, and the way that she was, her bullying kind of led her to building her own empire, one that she kind of wished that she had when she was going through it. And yeah, she kind of shared how she confronted that situation. She said that she got a communication coach, a personal communication coach, to help her be able to express how she was feeling. And one day, she kind of, there was someone in a meeting that she was in, and don't take me word for word, and I'm sorry, Cherie, if you're watching this and I've got this story wrong, but she came out and someone started talking over her, someone that had repeatedly done that. And she was brave enough to say, "Excuse me, I'm not finished speaking." And in front of the whole room, there was other people, and someone was trying to talk over her, and she simply just said that. And she said that changed her whole relationship with that person. They started respecting her a lot more. She didn't get as much pushback, and, you know, treated a lot more fairly, because she was able to stand up for herself and say, actually, I'm worth, what I'm saying right now is worth you listening to. So give me my time. There'll be time for you to speak, but right now it's time for me to listen. And I think as soon as people kind of hear you value yourself like that, something changes in their mind. Like it just does. As soon as you exude a little bit of confidence, people feel confident around you, and they feel confident in what you're saying. So that is another lesson. Like, stand up for yourself. Call out that shitty behavior. If anyone tries to talk over you in a meeting, just say exactly that. Sorry, or not even sorry. Excuse me, I'm not finished speaking yet. I'd love to hear what you have to say, but I still have some value to add here. And just watch how things change around you. Everyone in the meeting room will notice that, you know, you've kind of stood up for yourself, and the person that has done that to you, I highly doubt will ever do that to you again. And if they do, I mean, that's just kind of embarrassing for them. It's just bad behavior, and hopefully other people will see that and be like, ooh, yucky. Why is this person like that? Yeah, so I did that, and it still wasn't working for me at this workplace. I tried going to the HR department, which got me nowhere. In fact, it made me go backwards, because my manager ended up hating me even more. So I was lucky enough to experience, personal coaching. And I went through a 10-week program, I think. And we kind of worked through all of that, and she helped me to see who I was. She helped me to feel the value that I brought. She helped me to see the skills that I had. And she also helped me to see that I didn't deserve to be treated the way I was being treated. So that was a pretty big thing. My second part to that was at that time I was also going through my yoga teacher training. So it was a 350-hour training, where we learnt, first of all, how to teach yoga, but we also learnt like ancient philosophies and like a lot of things to help us move through what we were going through, and to teach that to others. And that definitely helped me become stronger as a person, and gave me confidence in myself. So that was really awesome. And then also, so it was last year, I started co-hosting New Moon Women's Circles with one of my other mentors. And so if you're going through a really shitty experience, make sure that you, at work, maybe see if you can create some space outside of work to be doing something that you love. Because that changed everything for me. I started to find my real strengths. I felt better in myself. I had something else to look forward to instead of only constantly thinking about, you know, my 9 to 5. I had something else that was like helping me get through, and another goal to work towards, because my 9 to 5 just felt like I was hitting my head against a wall. So create some space to be creating something that you love. And I'm not saying that you have to go out and create and host circles. All I'm saying is have a side hobby, something else that you can direct your energy to in a way that's constructive and not reliant on other people saying yes or no to you. You can just go out and you can do it yourself, because that is really empowering. And when it comes to that mentor that, you know, I was doing these circles with, she gave me, I don't even think that she meant to, it wasn't supposed to be advice. It was just kind of a story that she was telling me. And that really hit home. And the story was that she had a client come in for a Saturday class, and at the end of it, what was the words? Like, it was something along the lines of like, thank God it's the weekend. And my teacher she told me that she was thinking to herself when someone said that to her, was that, oh man, like, I feel for this person, because if she's only really living for the 2 days of the week that are the weekend she's not at work, that's 5 whole days that she's not enjoying. That is like huge. 5 whole days that people are just not happy with, and there's 2 days for them to enjoy themselves. Like, hang on a second, I thought we came to this earth to live our own experience, not to be held down by only enjoying 2 days of our lives. And that really hit to me, because that was me literally living for the weekend. And I was like, I feel like I'm too young. Not that that's an excuse, but I feel like I didn't come here to be in suffrage for 5 days and only having fun for 2. So that kind of got my brain thinking, and I was like, really, things were starting to shift at this point. And then, that's where I was. In between all of this, I had been listening to lots of different podcasts. I started learning about manifesting. I started learning about how to raise my vibration. I started learning about like journaling, more about yoga, crystals, really any of that spiritual stuff, which, if you know me, that's a big part of me. And so I had all of that knowledge base like kind of coming up and up and up. And I also was starting to think, hang on, this it's whatever I'm doing is not working, and whichever way that I think that I could maybe make this better is still not working. So, which comes to my next epiphany, when I was kind of having a bad day and I was talking to one of my friends, and she, again, accidental advice, we were talking, and she just turned to me and said, what is the point of complaining if you're not going to do anything about it? And like, whilst at the time when she said that to me, I was kind of like taken aback, like, oh, like, it's a bit hurtful. But then, I kind of sat with that, and I thought about it like for a day. And I was like, you know what? How many times do we hear like people at our workplace complaining that they are so unhappy? Like, oh, my manager did this, or oh, this person did that, or oh, like, I hate this environment, like there's no windows, blah, blah, blah. Complain, complain, complain. And how many times of those situations that people are complaining to us do, first of all, we either do anything when we're complaining, or they do anything about it when they're complaining? And I was like, yeah, like, what is the point of complaining about something if we're not willing to do anything about it? And yeah, and then so from that moment, whenever I would start complaining about my work, that conversation would come into my head straight away. Like, why are you complaining? You're not doing anything about it. Like, do you even have the right to be complaining? Because if it was that bad, you would probably be doing something about it. And so, yeah, that kind of led me to slowly building up the courage to see that there was nothing else that I could do at that place. And it became really obvious to me that I could just keep on going and trying to fix it. And I would just come up against a brick wall every single time. And I think it just got too much. I was like, I'm just going to keep on hurting myself and being constantly disappointed. I've tried everything that I possibly can here. And I've been listening to enough podcasts and reading enough books to learn and to know that I'm going to be supported no matter what decision that I make. If I leave my job, I don't have a backup job. I had been applying for jobs while I was at that job and nothing was happening. And so it got to the point where I had to take the plunge. I walked in I had spoken to my parents, I'd spoken to my partner, because at the same time we're also saving to build a house. We have a deposit on a block, and we're now really close to building because I have another job. But I left my good paying full-time job with no plan. It seems crazy, but I just knew that I would not be able to find another job that was going to be at a higher vibe that I wanted, a better, more positive experience, whilst I was in this really toxic environment. Like, we would not have been able to be a match at all. And I'd also been learning that, you know, we have this amazing ability to attract the things that we want. And it's not a question of, is it possible? And like, I just knew it wasn't a question of, is it possible? Because I could feel I was going to be okay. How crazy. I left my job, but I still was like, I think I'm actually going to be okay. And so, yeah, I handed in my resignation. There was absolutely no one there, besides my friends, my colleagues that I worked beside, that was upset that I was leaving. None of my managers cared. In fact, I had my manager actually planned my going away celebrations so he only worked part-time, and he planned that day to be on his off day. Like, obviously he didn't care. And then his manager on top of that on my last day, didn't say goodbye. In fact, I really honestly don't even know that she knew that I was leaving. It was just like confirmation for me that I was like doing the right thing. I had no guilt about it. I had no questions, no what ifs, no if buts, nothing. I just knew I was doing the right thing. So yeah, I left that job. I walked out of those doors for the last time, and I cannot tell you enough how amazing that feeling was. Like, walking out of those doors that I had so much shitty experiences. I had been kicked to the curb a million times, been slapped in the face. Not actually, no physical violence happened there, but metaphorically. I was leaving a shell of myself behind, and I walked out those doors, and I knew that as soon as I walk out those doors, I am going to become a completely different person. The world is going to open up for me, and you know what? It did. I ended up taking 3 months off. I was lucky enough to do that because I had savings, and I also had a bit of long service leave up my sleeve, which was great. And in between that time, I was obviously applying for jobs like constantly, and nothing was really happening. It was over the summer Christmas period, so yeah, no one's really hiring too much around then. And yeah, so obviously I'm a really big manifester, so I got really clear on what type of job that I wanted, from my experiences of everything that I knew that I didn't like. I wrote it down on paper. I wrote it down on paper that I want to be paid, you know what, I'm going to say it out loud. I want to be paid over 80k a year. I wanted to have a job that would allow me to work flexibly, my own hours, so that I can keep up doing all of my tribe stuff on the side, and I didn't feel burnout. I didn't want to be waking up at ridiculous hours and traveling to work. I wanted a really positive working environment. I didn't want to be bullied anymore. That was not going to happen. I wanted to work in front of a window. I wanted to actually see sunlight when I was working. Yeah, so they were like my main things that I put out there, that I was like, these are my non-negotiables. And I just kept on having faith that was coming. Kept on applying. I'm not going to say I didn't have my down days and my doubts about it at some point, because I did. And then, yeah, one day I got a call back for an interview. It was actually really funny. So I hadn't had any nibbles at all, like no one contacting me. And then on 1 week, I had 3 people asking me to come in for an interview in 1 week. So that was crazy. And then I'm a really bad decision maker. Well, not a bad decision maker, but I get really stressed when I have multiple choices. And so I sat down, I made some time to sit and have my meditation and get myself into a good headspace. And then I wrote down, the perfect job will choose me. There will be no other options. There'll only be one option, and that option is going to be the perfect one for me. And out of my 3 interviews, 1 called me back, and it's the company's actually called Tribal. I also am my tribe, Maddie May. They were offering me the amount that I wanted. It was a part-time role. They allow me to work flexibly. It's COVID-19 time, so I can work from home, so I don't have to travel. My office is right next to a window, and yeah, it just all kind of fell into place from there. My manager is great. And whilst I haven't really had much of an experience with other people up there because I'm working from home, I just feel I felt so welcomed, and it felt so weird. Like one day my manager actually asked me for advice and I gave it, and he listened and acknowledged my idea, and it just went really well. Whereas usually I just wasn't used to that. I was used to being shut down straight away, or I would give my idea and then someone would listen to it and say my idea again. And because I was young and a woman with blonde hair, when the other person said it, they listened, but when I said it, they didn't. But at this new place, they were listening to me and like valuing what I had to say. And I just feel so grateful for all of those lessons that I had learnt at my old job. Those bullying experiences have made me so much more resilient, has shown me my boundaries of what I will not tolerate anymore, led me to some really awesome mentors along the way. If I ever become a manager, I know now what people don't like, and it's inspired me to, if I do have a option to be a leader, that I am always going to respect others. I am never going to let my fear of other people surpassing me get in the way of their development. And I'm just going to live my life. And I want 7 days a week of being happy and not waking up feeling like, oh, only 3 more days until the weekend. Like, I want 7 days of, yes, this is my life, instead of being 2 days of, yes, this is my life. So I've changed that. And it's possible for anyone that wants to do it. And now I'm not saying that you have to leave your job, but I am saying, like, look for ways that you can think that you might be able to shift what's going on around you. Try it. Just try it. The worst that can happen is it doesn't work. Try something else. And if that doesn't work, try something else. You can do it. Like, it just comes down to what you're willing to do to get your 7 days of your life back on your terms. That's really all it comes down to. Unfortunately, no one else can do it for you. And, those life lessons, like for me, it took me pretty much 2 years of the same life lesson being thrown in my face for me to actually finally learn it. Those life lessons will keep coming. I think they'll probably keep coming back, and hopefully they're not as harsh as what I had to go through, but they won't come back once you learn. They just won't. So with that said, that's a little bit of my story, and I hope that me rambling on for this long means that you got something out of it. But yeah, key takeouts: bullying in the workplace is never okay. Stand up for yourself. Find some mentors, some people that have gone through your experience, and talk to them and see what they've done. Learn from them. Have your own practice of yoga or meditation or running or gym. Have something on the side that keeps your body moving. Look for a hobby, something outside of work that you can put your energy towards, and again, that's going to raise your vibe because you're doing something that you love. And just, yeah, that's my 5 takeouts. Yeah. So I guess all that's left is for you to be you. Claim your 7 days of your life back on the way that you want to live, not on the way that someone else that's maybe hiring you wants you to live. I don't know about you, but that's not what I came here to do, and I don't really know anyone that I've ever met that have been happy doing that. So just have faith, trust, and believe in yourself, because, oh my god, it's gonna sound like a CoverGirl ad. I was gonna say, because you're worth it. Wow, how's that for brainwashing? But but no, seriously, you are worth it. Yeah, all of your life experiences and everything has led you to this exact moment, and you're meant to hear this. And take the plunge, be brave, just do what you need to do to claim your life back. Yeah, so thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope that you got something out of it. Yeah, if you want to reach out, I'm on Instagram with my handle at my _tribe_Maddie May. Yeah, just be you, and if you want to reach out, that's where you'll find me. So yeah, namaste, Satnam, goodbye, big love to you always.